All right, today we're diving into a story that's all about challenge, but also incredible resourcefulness. We're looking at Bangladesh's water crisis. It's a wild story, really, about how our most essential resource can, turn into a threat. But it's also about how people are fighting back with some amazing ingenuity. So let's get into it. So let me ask you something. Do you ever really think about what's in your water? It sounds like a simple question, right? For most of us, we just turn on the tap and there it is, clean water. We don't even think twice. But imagine if that simple act, that flip of a handle, was a total gamble every single day. Well, for millions of people, that's their reality. That question isn't just some abstract thought experiment. It's literally about survival. And to really get a handle on what that looks like, we're heading to Bangladesh, a country that's right on the front lines of this global water crisis. Okay, so before we dive deep into the specifics of Bangladesh, we kind of have to zoom out for a second. To really get what's going on there, we need to understand the big picture. These delicate natural systems that are being thrown out of whack. The fundamental building blocks that make life on this planet even possible. So it all really starts with this idea of the environment. And it's so much more than just, trees and nature. It's this super complex web that connects all the living stuff, plants, animals, us, with all the non-living things we absolutely depend on. We're talking water, soil, sunlight, the whole shebang. And the science that tries to make sense of this giant web, that's ecology. And I think this is so cool. The word comes from the Greek oikos, which means house. So ecology is literally the study of our home, our planet, and how everything in it gets along or doesn't. Okay, so inside this big house, we have biodiversity. You can think of it like the fabric of life itself. It's not just about having lots of different animals and plants. It's way deeper. It's the variety within a single species and the variety of whole ecosystems, from massive rainforests to tiny coral reefs. So how do scientists even begin to study all this complexity? Well, they break it down into layers. It's pretty logical, actually. You start with one single individual. A bunch of those individuals make up a population. Then you get different populations interacting, and that's a community. Add in the physical surroundings, the water, the rocks, and boom, you've got an ecosystem. Put all the ecosystems on Earth together, and that's it, the biosphere. Right, so we've got this beautiful, delicate, interconnected system. But that system is now under some serious pressure. I mean, immense pressure. And we're going to look at the two biggest culprits, the two things really putting the squeeze on our planet, climate and our endless need for energy. First things first, let's get one thing straight. Because people mix this up all the time. Weather versus climate. Weather is what's happening outside your window right now. You look out, it's sunny, maybe it's raining, that's weather. Climate, that's the long game. It's the overall pattern of weather in a place, averaged out over like 30 years. The analogy is perfect. Weather is a mood, climate is a personality. And the other big piece of the puzzle? Energy. I mean, think about it. It powers everything. Our entire economy, our cities, our homes, we can't live without it. But, and this is the huge paradox, the way we get most of that energy is one of the main reasons our environment and our climate are in trouble. And this right here, this really shows the tough spot a country like Bangladesh is in. Just look at their energy mix. It's super heavy on fossil fuels. Almost half is natural gas. And yeah, that's what's powering their growth, lifting people out of poverty. But at the same time, it's contributing to the climate change that directly threatens them, with things like rising seas and crazy weather. It's a real catch-22. Okay, so that's the big picture. Now let's zoom right back in and see how all these huge global pressures show up in a very real, very dangerous way for the people of Bangladesh. And it all comes down to their water. All right, get ready for this number, because it's staggering. 24.8%. That's nearly a quarter of the entire population drinking water with unsafe levels of arsenic. And this isn't pollution from a factory. This arsenic is naturally in the ground. It's a massive, slow-motion public health crisis. And if the arsenic wasn't enough, there's another problem creeping in. Along the huge coastline, you've got rising sea levels pushing salt water inland, contaminating the fresh groundwater. So imagine this. The easiest water to get, the water that's literally right under your feet, is becoming undrinkable because it's too salty. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's a rural problem, right? The big cities must be fine. Well, not exactly. There's a huge gap. In the capital, Dhaka, coverage for piped water is pretty high, 85%.
But look at other big cities like Chittagong and Khulna. They're not even at 50%. So even in the cities, there's this huge inequality when it comes to just getting safe water from a tap.
So yeah, the problem is huge. It feels overwhelming. But here's the thing. Bangladesh isn't just left to deal with this on its own. There's actually a global plan, a blueprint, designed to help tackle exactly this kind of crisis. It's part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, specifically Goal number 6. And the mission couldn't be clearer or more ambitious: to make sure every single person on this planet has access to safe water and sanitation. For all. But what does safe water for all really mean in practice? It's not just a nice slogan. The UN gets specific. First, safe means it's not going to make you sick. No pathogens, no high levels of chemicals like that arsenic we talked about. Equitable means it doesn't matter who you are or where you live, you should have the same access. And affordable, well, that means paying for water shouldn't bankrupt you or force you to choose between water and food. Okay, so that's the goal, a massive global goal. But how on earth do you make it happen in a place facing so many challenges at once? Well, it turns out that one of the most effective solutions is incredibly simple. And it's an idea that's been around forever. It's called rainwater harvesting. And seriously, this isn't some newfangled tech. People have been doing this for centuries, but now it's being used as a modern solution. And it's a super effective way to get clean water right where you need it, especially, in a place like Bangladesh that gets a ton of rain. And the way it works is just brilliant in its simplicity. Okay, check it out. The rain hits a roof, right? That's your catchment area. Gutters and pipes then carry that water. Now here's a clever bit. A first flush system diverts the first bit of rainwater away, since that's what washes all the dirt off the roof. After that, the clean water flows into a storage tank, and you've got water on demand from a tap. It just makes sense. And listen, this isn't just a few people doing this in their backyards. This idea has gone mainstream. It's actually being written into law. The National Building Code in Bangladesh now requires rainwater harvesting systems for new buildings over a certain size. That's a huge deal. It shows a real commitment from the top down. When you step back and look at it, the story of Bangladesh is just such a powerful lesson. You have a country facing this perfect storm of environmental problems. Arsenic in the ground, salt in the water. But it shows us that even in the face of these huge challenges, simple, smart, and accessible ideas can be an absolute lifeline. They can genuinely change everything. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If a solution as basic as catching the rain that's already falling from the sky can be a total game changer, what else is out there? What other powerful, elegant ideas are we overlooking, maybe right in front of our own faces?